follow that strand.
Question. What to a scandal involving an Indian cotton tycoon, the overdose of a Chinese opium trader, bombings in Strasbourg and Vienna, and the death of a steel magnate in America all have in common?
Well, according to your diorama, Professor James Moriarty.
So today we're going to be speaking about Professor Moriarty in A Game of Shadows and why he is the best villain of all time. In the intricate tapestry of cinematic antagonists, Professor James Moriarty, as depicted in A Game of Shadows, emerges not merely as a formidable nemesis, but as the epitome of villainy.
I take that as a compliment.
Now, this essay seeks to unravel the multifaceted layers of Moriarty, underscoring his position as the ultimate antagonist through several prisms. His reflection and amplification of the protagonist's traits, targeted exploitation of vulnerabilities, his complex motivations, and indelible impact, coupled with his blend of wit, charm, and enigma. So let's do a tripartite analysis, shall we not? Deciphering the villain archetype. Broadly classified into 3 tiers. We're going to break it down into 3 tiers. Now, tier 3 encapsulates the archetypal evil for evil's sake villains. Okay? They lack depth and they're resembling caricatures. Now, contrastingly, Tier 2 villains boast a more developed backstory and understandable, although misguided, motivations. And the apex, Tier 1, Formula 6, represents villains whose actions, stemming from a contorted worldview, place them in a morally gray area, often evoking sympathy. Each tier has its place, depending on the narrative's requirements. A Tier 3 villain suits a plot where the focus is predominantly on the hero, whereas Tier 1 demands meticulous crafting, offering a rich narrative payoff when executed well. Now, interestingly, each tier is exemplified in Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you guys have watched that, showcasing the efficacy of these archetypes in different narrative contexts. Now, Moriarty, a Tier 1 villain par excellence.
Are you sure you want to play this game?
His genius lies in his ability to challenge Sherlock Holmes, pushing him to the brink. Now, this antagonist attacks Holmes' vulnerabilities. So in this case, he knows his biggest weakness is Watson, and he knows that Watson's biggest weakness is his wife. His newly wedded wife. Moriarty's villainy, though, is not just personal, no. He masterminds a great conspiracy, setting up a labyrinthine challenge that compels Holmes to introspect and evolve.
Sylvia, Pepe, Sylvia, I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe, Sylvia! So I say to myself, I gotta find this guy.
And there's an enigma of Moriarty's motivation. Because beyond mere material gain, Moriarty's drive is rooted in his complex psyche. He stands as Holmes' intellectual equal, driven by a desire for chaos and an obsession with besting his adversary. Now, this intricate motivation adds layers to his character, distinguishing him from one-dimensional antagonists. Okay, that's very important. He's not a Tier 3 nor Tier 2, he is a Tier 1 antagonist. And if you're enjoying what you've seen so far and don't want to miss out on our upcoming content, this is the perfect moment to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the video. We should begin to speak about the legacy of Moriarty, specifically in terms of literary origins and cinematic evolution. Now, Moriarty's impact in literature and cinema has actually fluctuated. Initially, author Conan Doyle conceived him merely as a narrative device to conclude Holmes' stories. Yet over time, Moriarty evolved galvanized by adaptations and the audience's inclination to pair great heroes with equally formidable nemeses. This evolution was furthered in this film by Jared Harris's performance and portrayal of Moriarty. First of all, it was fantastic. But also if you add on Guy Ritchie's direction, cementing, this really cements Moriarty's status as a memorable villain. And then the historical echoes in cinematic craft. A noteworthy aspect of Game of Shadows is the chess scene on the balcony, inspired by a real 1966 game between Ben Larson and Tigran Petrosyan. Now, this historical allusion not only enriches the film's texture, but also mirrors the strategic battle of wits between Holmes and Moriarty. In conclusion, Professor James Moriarty in A Game of Shadows stands as a testament to the power of a well-crafted villain. His character embodies the pinnacle of villainy, not through mere malevolence, but through his profound psychological depth, strategic genius, and the intricate dance of intellect and will as he engages with the Sherlock Holmes. Moriarty's evolution from a literary afterthought to cinematic icon encapsulates the dynamic interplay between character and narrative, solidifying his place as the greatest villain of all time, in my opinion.